name's Paul Crofts. I'm from the Sheffield and District Branch Campaign for Real Ale, or CAMRA as it's known. I look after the press stuff for the festival, speaking to the local press and putting out press releases and things for the websites, as well as organising sponsorship and stuff like that. And as happens at the festival, you do anything and everything that needs doing.
Lovely. So you're very busy this week?
Yes, extremely. It's a very busy 2 days getting set up, particularly the first day because all the beer needs to get into place, needs to be racked up, given time to settle, because being real ale there'll be sediment in the barrels. That's all got stirred up from being delivered, so we need to let that settle.
So can you tell us a little bit about the history of the Sheffield Beer Festival?
Well, funnily enough, I've only been involved myself for a couple of years, but I know it's been going for a long time now, 40 years. It's been at various places. There's been a few working men's clubs in the past. It was at the Cemetery in Marquise a few years ago. It was at Pondsforge for a couple of years. And then 3 years ago it moved here to Callum Island, which I think is a fantastic place for it. It's a great building, great site. Lots of heritage which suits that sort of beer history that we've got around here. So I think this is probably, well, everybody seems to say it's probably the best spot that we've been in for the whole history of the festival.
Yeah, and is there more room to spread out?
There is. We've got an extra room this year. I think we got about 5,000 visitors last year, just under 5,000, and we're expecting to probably get 5.5 to 6 this year. We've got an extra room. We're actually putting a craft keg bar in this year, which is possibly controversial because obviously everybody regards real ale as hand-pulled beer from a cask, but there are some pretty good beers being produced in a keg, so we've got a keg bar, so that should be pretty good. There just seems to be more, the interest is just ramping up year after year.
Yeah, lovely. And there's a marquee already outside?
Yeah, that was there waiting for us on Monday morning. That was thankfully in place when we got here, so we could get started straight away. So yeah, that's good. And then there's the big room upstairs. Anyone who's familiar with Callum Island Museum will know that there's a big room upstairs, and we're in there. That's probably the main room, really. It's where the bands are playing as well, because we've got some live music on.
Lovely. Yeah. Great. So when is the beer festival?
It starts on Wednesday. It opens at 5 o'clock. We've got the Mistress Cutler coming down to do the official opening. So she'll pull the first ceremonial pint at 5 o'clock on Wednesday. And then we carry through till 11 o'clock. And then Thursday and Friday we open at 12 through till 11. And then Saturday we open at 12 and we finish around 10 to half 10. It being a beer festival, there's a certain amount of beer. And as it gets towards the end, it perhaps gets a little bit less of it. As it's cask beer, you can't simply put another cask on at 6 o'clock on Saturday because you need some more beer, because that's got 72 pints in it, and if you don't sell them all, you can't resell afterwards. So effectively you pour them down the drain, which is a terrible thing to be doing, but we have to do it.
Yes. So what kind of beers will be available? Quite a range.
We've got, it's quite a big range. We've made a big effort this year to try and get something from every Sheffield brewery. There's now 23 breweries in Sheffield, and I believe we've got something from everybody, which is quite a task because we've got about 300 different beers and ciders. So when you think 23 breweries, if they all give us 3 or 4 barrels, it takes up quite a chunk of your beer order. But that's fine because there's some very, very good breweries locally, and we'd like to feature them all. The University report recently said that Sheffield had a good case for being the beer capital of the UK, but also it said that there's a lot of the local breweries sell their beer locally. They don't travel too far, so it's not necessarily something that people outside Sheffield are that aware of. But we do get quite a lot of visitors coming to the festival, so if we can shout about Sheffield beer while they're here, then that's great.
Yeah, wonderful. And what is the cost of attending the beer festival?
It varies. On the Wednesday night, it's free to get in. For CAMRA members, they get a discount, but for public, it's free on the Wednesday. It's £1 on Thursday. It's £3 Friday in the day. That goes up to £5 at the evening, and then it's £3 on Saturday. The Friday night usually gets extremely busy, and we quite often have to run a one-out, one-in policy. So we have people queuing, waiting to get in, which is nice to see. You know, obviously we're that popular, we've got a lot of people wanting to come in.
Yeah, lovely. And are you looking for volunteers still? Is it too late to volunteer?
If anybody wants to volunteer, they can volunteer right up to the last minute. That's fine. Every bit of help's gratefully received, because we're entirely staffed by volunteers. There's no paid staff at all. So it's all people from local branch of CAMRA. A lot of people at the local breweries help out. People come from other cities. Quite a lot of people who enjoy working at beer festivals will come from Leeds or Nottingham or whatever, and they'll come up and do a couple of days. But it's quite enjoyable. It's one of those things where it's a lot of hard work, but when it's all finished, you feel sort of quite proud that you're involved in something that's been such a success. So yes, if anybody's thinking of volunteering, just get straight on the website, put your details in, and we'll find you something to do.
Lovely. And do you need any specific experience or skills to be a volunteer?
No, not at all. If you've no experience, we'll find you a job that doesn't need experience. If you turn up and you've worked behind the bar for 20 years, then we'll probably put you behind the bar. But no, it doesn't matter whether you've done anything at all. Just come down and we'll find you something. There's always things to pick up and lift and carry, and we can soon teach you to pull a pint.
And you mentioned there's some entertainment as well.
Yep, we've got on Thursday night, we've got a band called The Basement. They're a Northern Soul act. Friday night, we've got the Vegas Six, who are out and out rock and roll. And then on the Saturday, we've got, in the afternoon, as we do quite regularly, is the Loxley Silver Band. They play a lot of, it's a brass band, they play a lot of tunes. And then in the evening, we've got the Slingshots, who are like a rockabilly style band. They'll be on a little bit earlier. The Thursday and Friday, the bands will be on probably about 9 o'clock, but the Slingshots will be on a little bit earlier because of the festival closing earlier on Saturday.
Lovely.
But looking forward to that. Should be good.
Yeah, and there's also the museum to visit as well, isn't
Yeah,
there?
the museum is open during the day on the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and they are on the Friday and Saturday. They should be running the engine for us. The big engine that's in the museum. They said they would set that running because that's quite, a lot of people like to see that. You kind of have a mooch around the museum, not necessarily all of it, but you kind of look around parts of it.
Yeah, brilliant. So you mentioned that Sheffield's getting the name for being the UK capital for beer. Why do you think that is?
That's a very good question. We've had a bit of history with some of the big brewers, but of course some years ago that disappeared. When Ward's closed, you'd got the situation where the Callum Island brewery was the biggest brewery in Sheffield, and it was operating from a garage by the Fat Cat. It was, incredible. But I think some of it is down to probably the success of the Fat Cat and the Callum Island brewery, because a lot of people saw that business model of a small company producing good quality products, and not. The Fat Cat was always a non-smoking pub. It was always a beer pub. There wasn't fruit machines or anything. What we class as sort of like the micro pub idea that's currently popular, where you focus on the beer and nothing else. Fat Cat's always been like that, and I think it gave a lot of local people the idea that would work and they could do something similar. And it has worked. I say 23 breweries, and we did a recent survey. CAMRA went around local pubs surveying what beers were available. And of the 10 most popular breweries that we found out about on the pumps at the pubs, 6 of those 10 were local. Brilliant. And the top 2 beers by far was Aberdale Moonshine and Farmer's Blonde. So I think what it is it's that small local thing that people like, and obviously the people of Sheffield are quite supportive of that.
And the Fat Cat and Callum Island have managed to keep their character as well, haven't they? Wonderful buildings now,
they've hardly changed at all. Well, the brewery's moved a couple of hundred yards. But no, if you've got a winning formula, why change it, really?
Yeah, wonderful. So the beer festival is Wednesday to Saturday. Yeah. What are you most looking forward to, Paul?
Me? I think probably seeing some of the special beers that we've had made. Because quite often for a festival, some of the breweries will produce a special beer. So there might be something that you've drunk before, but they do a special version. They put extra hops in, or they put hops in the cask when they put it in the cask, just to give it a bit more flavour. Or they might even brew an out-and-out special that they've not brewed before. So there's quite a few of those festival specials. I'm looking forward to trying a few of those.